about Patrick Brown's campaign, where we have still big candidates to get through? So Patrick Brown's campaign, how do you think he's faring? I know there have been allegations of some irregularities with his membership sign-up. Mike, what do you anticipate from that campaign?
Well, he's run a pretty vicious and vindictive campaign, particularly against Mr. Poilievre. Pretty nasty stuff. I think from what I'm told, he's probably doing good on the signups. He's run a pretty strong campaign. And as I say, I think the issue is going to be, I think it's debatable whether he or Mr. Charest are on the final round with Pierre. I think Charest will make it to the round, but Brown could be close. Brown could be close to Charest.
Michelle, you've commented on the Charest campaign before. How do you feel he's done? And do you feel that there's merit to what Mike is saying, that perhaps Patrick Brown could eclipse Charest?
No, he's not going to eclipse him. At the end of the day, I think we have a very educated and well-informed conservative base. And I think that anybody who looks at it is going to be like, yes, you have Patrick Brown. He's mayor. That's fine. And I'm sitting there going like, but why not get somebody who's seasoned, who's been there and done that, who actually has a fantastic job right now and is leaving that fantastic job to run for the conservative leadership, which frankly, he doesn't need to because he's close to retirement and makes very good money. Why is he doing it? Because for him, it's not about career anymore. It's not about trying to leave a legacy because God knows he can just enjoy his life. It's about Canada needs a real leader, somebody who can carry us because God knows we need help in this country. And the only one I believe that can do it is Charest. Because I'm very pragmatic. We are all idealistic in some ways, but we've had 3 idealistic elections and we've not got a leader that can get elected. So I think that Charest can carry the base.
So some people might push back and say, well, that's where Pierre Poilievre would come in. Poilievre, he's been vocal on these issues, leading on lots of these issues from within the House of Commons for the last few years, even when he was in the O'Toole government or the O'Toole opposition. Mike, what do you think Pierre Poilievre's? I think everybody knows or expects that he will be on that final ballot.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on his campaign, Mike, and how would that fare vis-a-vis Charest?
Well, I think I agree in part with what Michelle said. I think the Conservative Party really has to ask itself, assuming this comes down to Charest, right,
yeah,
and Poilievre, and it certainly looks that way. I was just suggesting an outlier, a possibility Brown. I think that the real issue is I don't disagree with a lot of things she said about Mr. Charest. Here's the problem. Mr. Poilievre has the best chance of winning the party base and winning the party election. I think Mr. Charest is far more electable outside the party.
In
Exactly.
a general election, in the general, like when it's Liberals versus NDP and Conservatives.
The argument on the other side I hear, not just from social conservatives, is Charest, and all the things that Michelle said are correct, but it's kind of back to the future. It's back to the old PC party. And there's also a strong sense that if Mr. Charest could become the leader of the party, he'd be very able and wins a general election, even with the majority. A lot of conservatives say to me, there'd be no difference in public policy in this country. There'd be no substantive difference in public policy except on the margins. And that is what conservatives have to ask themselves. If the name of the game is office and power and winning, which is what the Liberal game is, then Charest's your guy, no question. But then don't have any illusions that substantive public policy, social, economic, or political, will be that different on the NDP Liberal trend line. And that's fine. And I think that's the decision for intelligent conservatives to decide. And that's why I think it's Poilievre on the one side of that argument, but it's Charest on the other. And I think that's the fundamental issue. The party has to ask itself, what are we all about? What is this game all about?
That's very well described, because don't forget, this current iteration of the Conservative Party is a merger of 2 parties, almost the West, if you will, and the PC party. And you're right. I think Pierre and Charest represent both those wings. Michelle, do you have a final thought? We only have 10 seconds left.
I do. Poilievre has gone through a different echelon. I can call it an echelon because now he's talking about firing the Bank of Canada governor and getting Bitcoin. I'm sitting there going like, I know you're doing this to get voters, but at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense. And so for me is this, I'll run the next time, but it'll only be if Charest is leader because I'm a pragmatist. And at the end of the day, I am tired of sitting and complaining I just want to let's just do and cut taxes and make Canadians actually afford to buy food and pay their bills. That's it.